Okay. Okay. Good morning, Vladimir.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
Good morning,
morning,
everyone.
good morning,
Vladimir.
Vladimir.
Good to see you.
Yes,
To
nice to
see you.
see you all here. Glad you have some kind of conversation a little bit before serious matter comes. Yeah?
The dependency of the people born in the last generation towards technology now.
Right. It is now. The time is now. And the word is love. Yeah, you remember? Yes, there was a band. The time is now, and the word is love. There
Mm.
was a song.
Right. Which band is this?
This is
Okay.
Yes. It's called. It's an American
Okay.
band.
Okay.
Yeah. Avant-garde rock long ago. It was in 70s something.
No wonder they fizzled out.
Right. Well, they grew up.
I'm in a different mood this morning. Sorry.
Good mood. We need it, otherwise we would fall into this seriousness of matter. All right, today we have this new hymn. Let us look
Yes,
into it. 73.
73.
Let me start with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edhi vedasyama ani stha shrutam me ma prahasihi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami Ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, and project the hymn. So this is the last hymn of Parashara Shaktya. Rair Nayach Pitrivito Vayodhach Supranitich Chikitusho Nashasuch Sionashich Sionashich Atitich Na Prinano Hoteva Sadma Vidhato Vitarit. Rairnayach Pitrivito Vayodhach. He is like an ancestral wealth that founds our strength. Vayodhach founds our strength, Shobin translates. Supranitich, who perfect in his leading, like the command of the one who knows. Chikitushona Shasuch. He is like a guest lying happily, well pleased. Sionashich, Atitichna Prinanach. He is like a priest of invocation and increases the house of his worshipper. Hoteva Sadma Vidhato Vitarit. There's some beautiful music if we read consciously the verses. Rair Nayach Pitrivito Vayodhach Supranitich Chikitushona Shasuch, Siona Shich, Atithirna Prinanach, Hoteva Sadma, Vidhato Vitarit. He's like, yes. And my interpretation is a bit different because I want always to highlight the difference. Is the wealth discovered by forefathers establishes the extension of our life in space and time. So that wealth which was discovered by Pitris is actually holding or establishing longer time for our life here, or longer space and time. And as the instruction of the one who knows, Shah, so his instruction, Chikitu Shah, of the one who knows, or who can focus consciousness on any object of sense, that leads perfectly forward. So praniti, who has praniti, perfect, yeah, leading forward perfectly. Again, forward is an important word in time and space. As a happy and beloved guest on our soft seat. Can you imagine such a situation? A happy and beloved guest on our sofa somewhere. So we give him the most comfort, and we love him, being feeling comfort in our life, in our house. I remember when I was in India, we were traveling in Rajamundry, and there was a head of Sri Aurobindo Society, and he invited us to his home. And I can't forget that hospitality. It was like bliss, really. He gave me the best place where he was always seated. I was sitting there in one room where was air conditioned, because the only one room had air conditioned. So it was for me. So for me to rest, to eat, everybody was outside where there was no air condition. And I was there in that room, and they switched off light, closed the curtains, that I could rest after food a little, And it was like, I couldn't believe that this is even possible. Yeah, I was overwhelmed by that. So it's something like that, Siona Sheikh, sitting in the or lying in the most comfortable place, in the most atitichna, as if the guest Prinana, beloved. And he is also as the summoner of the gods Hoteva, in the house of the worshipper Sadma. He is overwhelming and crossing over in all directions. Vitarit. Of the one who is worshipping Vidhatach Sadma, in the place of, or in the house of the one who does the sacrifice. He is overwhelmed, or overwhelming rather, in all directions. His presence is felt all over. It's a very psychological, actually, description. All of them are very psychological. And then next verse. Devona yah savita satyamanma kratvani pati avrijanani vishva puruprashasto amatirna satya atmeva shevo didhishai yo bhut. Interesting form, didhishai yo bhut. Would not be permitted in classical Sanskrit. He is like the divine sun, true in his thoughts, and guards by his will all our strong places. Kratva, by his kratu, nipati, he protects Vrijanani Vishva, all the strong places. He is like a splendor manifoldly expressed, Puruprashastach, Amatichna Satyach. He is like the blissful self, Atmeva Sheva, and our support. That's how Sri Aurobindo simplifies this, but he gives a full footnote here, or he is one to be meditated on, upheld in thought, blissful like the self. So this is Didhi Shayo. I translate it differently. He is to be established within us, to be held within us. Um, um, so, like the god Savitar, he is of the true mind. As we know from the description by Sri Aurobindo, Agni is actually carries within himself the power, the true power. Power and knowledge are merged in him. He represents that supramental action actually within the material form, which is growing here. And he has all the qualities and all the faculties of the supramental Godhead. And that's why he's here compared with the sun, Savitar, true in his thoughts. It is something which we always kind of overlook when we think with our mind in hierarchical structures. We think that the lower we come, the less it is divine. But Agni is the immortal among mortals. He is the one who is engaged in constant pushing forward the whole evolution. And because of that, he has this Satyamanama. He has the true thought, like the god Savitar, to manifest the divine here. He has even more strength then, because he has to do the work in the darkness.
I have a question here, Vladimir. From the description that you just gave about Agni, to my mind, I may be, I don't know, mistaken, but to my mind, there doesn't seem to be a difference between Agni and the psychic self. It's the same. The psychic self is the Agni, the flame within.
Yes. Yes, psychic being is formed later as individual, but as a psychic presence, it is that power of flame which sustains the whole earthly nature. As Mother says about the psychic presence, is everywhere in the plants, in animals, in the whole earthly atmosphere. Earth itself is a psychic being of the universe. So whoever wants to change or to grow in consciousness, he has to take the earthly body here on earth. And this is the great privilege. We actually don't know about this or don't think about this. That being in this body, in this difficult body, is a privilege. Because only here we can grow in consciousness. Later, when we leave the body, we will not be able to grow in consciousness. We make a plan in the psychic world to grow in consciousness, and then we have to come down here into the body and start growing, changing. So in that sense, of course, Agni is essential because he provides that connection to the growth of consciousness here. He is the engine of that growth, the evolutionary deity, which provides this change, constant change of the fallen emanations. When we come down, we take onto ourselves these fallen emanations. We take onto us the physical, the vital, the mental, all those elements of the fallen emanations which have to grow in consciousness. And we provide the light in that way. And Agni is there providing the support for all of us because he He is our Father, and we are his sparks.
So those are our strong places that he's guarding.
Yes, about strong places. This is a bit unexpected for me because strong places are usually associated with the stalls in which the cattle is held, yeah, and which have to be broken, and the cattle has to be, the herds of the sun have to be released. But he is not only Nipati. Sri Aurobindo says he guards by his will all our strong places, locations of our storage of our intuitions, which we received over time. He is in charge of all our wealth during our past evolution. Yeah? He holds all that wealth safe, as it were. I translate it differently. By the power of will, he fulfills us from within and protects all strong places. Because there is this word nipati, which is very interesting. Ni, inwardly, pati, protects. But we can translate it as inwardly fills us and maybe fills all our strong places. In other places, he is called Jata Vedas, the one who knows all the births, all that we achieved, because it is his work. We assign it to ourselves as individuals, but truly speaking, we are doing here the divine work. And everything what happens to us is happening with his support. And everything we achieve here and realize in spiritual sense, all transformations, all achievements are his achievements. Well, it's such a different world we are describing. There is no us anymore in that form. It's only instrumental, we. Ahankara is only instrumental by nature, by Prakriti. She created that instrument for action in this world. But the presence of his power, of Purusha, is everywhere. It is him. It is all his indriyas, yes? Karmendriyas, jnanendriyas. It is him who acts within. So I thought that he fulfills or fills inwardly our hard places, our strong places. That was the idea first, but I didn't dare to translate it this way. So I left it half, kind of 1 foot there, 1 foot here, not going for any kind of final, but literally, kratva, by the force, he inwardly fulfills our strong places. Fills, literally. I add fulfills, and it adds a little more psychological meaning. Just simply fills is very physical.
So fills, can it be also transforms?
Well, transforms, yes, fulfills, yes, gives
Transforms.
full realization in the because that is what we are here for. We are here to store all our inspirations within the inconscient place, within the hidden strong places, and then we have to realize them. One day it will change. And it will be quite sudden and unexpected, as Sri Aurobindo describes even in Savitri. And many in Auroville also know about this. They read Sat Prem and the Mother, and they know that the description is given of this transformation will be a sudden shift. Yeah? We will stay in this kind of cocoon for quite some time, then boom, and then we realize that it will be a total self-discovery on a totally different level. Um, you remember the passage from Savitri, as the wise men talk and sleep, yeah, and believe shall be not till the work is done. Now, the believe shall be not till the work is done, but one moment we will realize that the work is done. And who was doing it? We were not even aware that we were instrumental to this work. We are so packed in our smallness, in our small life, in our considerations, in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our fears, all that which we consider to be all that amalgam of, of all kinds of vibrations, feelings, emotions we consider ourselves. Sri Aurobindo says it's very far from the truth. We just got onto ourselves all this mess of vibrations, and we believe that we represent them or we are them, and it is far from the truth. Just do the work here. We hold on to the fire. We are the sparks of this fire, and it takes onto itself all this darkness. And many times it looks like the darkness prevails, but it is only temporarily. It's just bigger portion of darkness we took onto ourselves before the flame is starting to work. And then, strangely enough, flame is always managing the darkness. At the end, the good is always prevailing. Did you notice? The truth is always prevailing. And every time I notice that, I watched yesterday this Netflix, the Women of War. There is a new film, and very well done. It's a French film. Yeah? With, so, and there I was thinking, how how beautiful it is when the truth is breaking through. And you know the truth. It's such a relief. Even you lose the whole world, and if even everybody is hating you and blaming you, it is such a relief. You are free from that corner of distortion. Oh, those vriginam, interesting word, is actually a distortion, strong place because it is distorted. It is not straightforward, yes? It is something which is holding you back, which is not allowing you to be yourself, to be open, yeah? And every time the truth breaks through, you feel within you, I feel myself, oh, finally, it doesn't matter what are the consequences, you feel again yourself. This tension between untrue and true is fundamental for this creation. So it's going on. So darkness with untrue prevails, it piles up, and then the truth straightens up everything. Everything becomes again clear, everything finds its true place and position. So this is Agni doing that work. So, and praised by many, the truth beyond opinions. This is the truth. This is an important, it's according to this film also. There are so many opinions. There are so many views on how we live. So, and that is the truth which is simple. One doesn't have to have opinion to have that truth. Yeah? The truth is simple. It is what it is. One doesn't have to play the truth to be truthful. It's unthinkable. Thought cannot really manage it. He is like a blessed self to be established within us. To be meditated on, to be held in our thoughts. And then, Devonayach prativim vishvadhayach Upaksheti hitamitrona raja. Purach sadach sharmasado navirach. Anavadya patijushte. He's like a god upholding the world. And that is true. He is the god upholding the world. He's Rudra's son. He is Rudra's action, which is upholding all the nature, all the universe on his shoulders. And he, because that is him who entered into the fallen emanations, which were in the oblivion. They had to disappear. They were not until he entered. And when he descended, they were saved, as Sri Aurobindo says in Savitri. Non-being's night could never have been saved if being had not plunged into the dark. That being which plunged into the dark saved the night. And not only night, but also saved the night from the darkness in the future, but also saved the night as it is in the present. Also interesting. It saved the very actuality or functionality of the night, because night has a particular function for manifestation. It holds all these divine beings in their own individual form and develops them in individual framework. So he's upholding the whole world, and he inhabits earth like a good and friendly king. Inhabits the earth, that is his region. He brings this psychic presence into earth atmosphere. He is like a company of heroes sitting in our front, like the whole army protecting us from our front where we go forward, dwelling in our house. He is as if a blameless wife, beloved of her Lord. This is the ideal of the past, beloved wife, blameless, and so on. Or let us say as blameless power of the soul, which is acting constantly in accordance with the soul's will. It's will of the soul. Because Nadi is and Nara, they are loaded with different meaning in the Veda. Nara is the heroic power of the soul, or hero souls, as Sri Aurobindo translates. And he even says that Nara is used, and it is used many times, with many godheads, with great godheads, with Adityas. Mitra and Varuna are Naras. So how come? What does it mean really? So later Nara is translated as male, as a hero in the post-Vedic. But in the Veda, it is that power to face the obstacles, to move forward. It's a heroic power of the soul, of the divine. So Nadi is his will, his strength, so to say. Just to remove that idea of the wife, because it's immediately bringing down the whole vision. I have my own interpretation, as if a god who upholds the world. He lives on the vast earth, like a king surrounded by good friends. Could be also translated Hitamitrach. And like heroic powers of the soul, he is seated in the front, seated in blissful protection or home. Sharma Sadach. Sharma is, Sri Aurobindo translates usually as blissful protection, but it is also protection as a home. And actually, home is a blissful protection. inside home you feel bliss and happiness, and you can be yourself, you can relax, you don't need to fight with the outer forces. The symbolism, the symbolic meaning of the home is that you can be yourself inside. Yeah? It's outside you have to be somebody else. You have to face the difficulties, the forces, the fights, um, pretend to be someone else. But when you come home, you can be yourself again. Can relax. All things are known to you, all things are supporting you. It's that blissful protection.
Could it also mean the physical body, Vladimir?
Yeah, can be. Because home and physical body are very closely related in the symbolism of the Veda, yes. So he is seated in front, he is seated in the blissful protection, in the home, in the body, like the heroic, like the company of heroes, Virach. I translate as the heroic powers of the soul, Virach. Anavadya as blameless, Patijushta, beloved by the husband, Nari, wife. I think Rishi wants to create the sense of it, yes, that he piles up the epithets which have to somewhere break us through and give us a sense of that presence of that force in us. And then Tam tvanaro dame anityam idham agne sachantakshitishu dhruvasu agni, adhidyumnam nidadhuh bhuri asmin bhavash vishvayu dharuno rainam. Tam tvanaro me anityam idham, such art thou, O fire, to whom man cleaves sachanta. Kindled eternal in the house, in the abiding worlds of thy habitation. Kshitishu dhruvasu, idham, in the steady dwellings, nityam idham, constantly kindled, dame, in the house, you know? Literally. It is you that people in all the steady dwellings follow, sachanta, cling to. Yeah? Or Agni, when you are kindled and constantly burning. This kindling of the fire and constantly burning and keeping him burning is a constant, yes, idea of the Veda. Kindling is important. And we can feel many times that that our fire kind of is veiling or is kind of fading away, and it's not so active, and it has to be rekindled. So kindling means bringing him forward in his action, closer to the surface. It is burning always inside. It is flaming deep within. But to bridge that flaming and to bring it closer to the surface is what is called kindling. And constantly burning means we have to constantly hold on to it, hold on to his flaming, working, giving food to it, yes, making offering, oblation, with clarified bhata, with our clarified mentality. That means our purified mind has to support his flaming. We have to think, we have to dwell with our mind on these higher ideas, That is for him food, food which is kindling it constantly, making it burn. It's a very tangible power, force. It's not some kind of abstraction or imagination. When once it is kindled, you can't but move forward in spiritual sense. You see the whole world differently. You see the whole world as the means for the fire to grow. That's why you want to offer everything to this flame, because the delight and power and knowledge are growing in you. So why should you keep something in the dark for your darker selves, for your egoistic usage? It doesn't make sense anymore once it is kindled. But before it is kindled, it is a concept of some kind, which we also recognize because we've been there in the past and we know the value of it. We cannot totally, how to say, experience it, but we know that we may come to it again. I felt the other day that kindling is a very special idea in the Veda. And there's constantly use idham, samidham, totally kindled, susamidham, perfectly, totally kindled. And that means that all the parts of our mental, vital, and physical consciousness are feeding him, becoming food for his growth. This is the divine growing in us, in our house, Dame.
This is the tapas, right? You're referring to the tapas, the process of tapas, Agni tapas.
Yeah, there are two Agnis. Yeah, long ago we spoke about this.
Yes.
One of which is tapas,
Yes.
the effort of which we have to start with. We have to take two sticks and get the fire out of it. And these two Aranis, yes, they are heaven and earth, our mental and physical being. So with this friction between them, we create the heat. Heat is hidden within the matter, hidden within the nature, and it has to flame out. Yeah, we are kind of not yet totally dry. When we dry up with this kind of with work of tapasya,
Yes.
we prepare the materials to offer to Agni. So once he is flaming, this is one Agni. But once he is kindled in the heart, then it is like a divine flame or psychic being in front, and he plays different role, so to say. It's no more that effort in the nature which we usually make. And between these two flames, there is a considerable difference in psychological attitude. Mother speaks about the path of monkey, and baby cat. So this flame in the heart is a surrender, only surrender. Yes, there is nothing else. Psychic doesn't want to do tapasya. The psychic doesn't do tapasya. It only wants to give itself to the divine. The other members who are generating the flame in the nature, they do tapasya, mind, vital, they work hard to make it work, and it works because it is hidden there. So it will flame. I don't know why it was made like this, but it is what it is. It's what we are dealing with. It's our psychology. We have two different flames. One is seeking the satisfaction in nature, total satisfaction, absolute divine satisfaction in nature, in all the members of nature. And the other is seeking only the divine, and wants only the divine in nature, but differently, directly calling, surrendering, offering everything to the divine. Two centers in us, and of the same fire. As it is said in the other hymn so beautifully, we will come to it most probably, that fire is worshipped in two forms, as Idia, Bria, beloved, sought with adoration, and as Yajatra, as worthy of sacrifice. So these two forms, and both of them are valid, and none of them prevails. They both coexist. So, upon him they established within a vast light. They have founded within upon thee a great light, become a universal life holder of the reachers. Adhi, interestingly, Adhi Dadhu, literally above they established, above Adhi, ni within, above and within, two prefixes, yeah? They established. They established within the heart and above the head the shining light, vast Bhuri Asmin in you, in him literally. Bhava, become Vishvayuh, the universal life, Dharuno Rayinam, the holder of all the reaches. So the idea is that Agni will flame in all the parts of our being. The divine has to transform our mind, vital and physical, and become the universal life force holding all the reaches. And this manifestation becomes the reaches, actually. It is hidden reaches, yeah? All the darkened forms, all the unregenerated yet forms, they are the hidden reaches. Once they are transformed, we discover that this is the wealth of the divine, his being, his infinite being manifested in time and space. And it generates a lot of delight. Sri Aurobindo associates the riches, the wealth with the delight also. It is that we recognize the truth of the divine through delight. This is usually the way to know whether you are true or not. If it is not generating delight, if you are not happy with the truth, then that truth is questionable. Okay, maybe I will stop for your observations, questions a bit, otherwise I'm just carrying forward the whole thing. Yes, yeah, please go ahead. Just switch on microphone.
Yeah. So I was thinking about the first verse, Vladimir, that protecting the strong places, could it be something like until the seed is ready to grow, it has to be protected? The first one, I think. Oh no, second one, yes.
Yes. Yeah,
So
it,
it's like guiding the seed that has to grow through these various lives so that it is not out of season or out of time or something.
yeah, I like this. Yes, I can see the meaning. In other place, it is said that the divine mother, pregnant with the fire, with the flame, she does not deliver him to his father
Mm.
until he grew totally there. And once he is totally ready to be born, yeah, she turns to be Mahishi, the Great One, and she delivers only then to him, to his father. So he has to grow, the divine within has to grow secretly, separately, as it were. Cannot be open or delivered too early to the hostile time, as Sri Aurobindo says. Don't show, yeah? Don't reveal the secret name, the sacred name to hostile time too soon, because it will be, it will stop it, prevent it, damage it, so to say, from growth. So it needs to be secretly growing. And yes, this is the idea, most probably. Yes, yeah, it's a good suggestion.
Because you see, we forget all our past births, and that is probably for this reason alone, that if we knew, we would probably harm it ourselves. I was just thinking very loosely around it.
Very nice. Yeah. Yes. Why we should be, yes, disconnected from the memory of the past? There is a reason, because the memory is kept in the divine, and Mother describes it beautifully. By the way, there is a new book which I would recommend by Sumitra Basu. I'm showing you, and this. It's called the consciousness-based psychology, and there he, in chapter of reincarnation, he gives very good quotations. You can read how we preserve our psychic memory. Yeah.
Did you get it on Amazon? Because I was looking for it this morning.
Oh, he sent to me the copy just personally.
Okay.
But
It's only available in the Indian website, in the Lotus Press or something, Aurum or something.
we will do something. We will have a meeting. I mean, the presentation of this book, I think, in February 12th or something. And then we will make an order, very nicely written, without
Yes.
extra words, which is saving a lot of time and energy.
Still, it is so thick.
Yes, and a lot of quotations proper, yeah, to the point. Big also, the whole page of Sri Aurobindo's description, which is very useful. Some people say you should not do this, but I think we should. Yeah, we should select the most. The clarity has to come, and this book clarifies many interesting points. On the ego and psychic is an excellent chapter, and the difference between the two. So
in Savitri, in the canto on nirvana and the all-negating absolute, Sri Aurobindo says, O soul, bear not thy kingdom to the foe. Consent to hide thy royalty of bliss, lest time and fate find out its avenues and beat with thunderous knock upon thy gates.
yeah, you see, so beautiful, so much to the point. Yeah, thank you so much. This is that, yes, protection. There is another passage, a hostile time, I remember. There is a hostile time, also waiting for us, and can knock us out. And every insincerity becomes a crack within our protection. This Sharman, this Sharma is the blissful protection, the house in which we dwell. So we need to take care of it. We have to become sincere. And sincerity is the best protection. Truthfulness is the best protection. To be true. Doesn't matter that doesn't fit somebody's idea or that damages your reputation. Yeah. Truth is truth. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be frank, like, I will tell you everything. No, thank you. Don't tell me everything. Spare me from telling you everything. But true in the moment of time is very important. Mm. That creates the protection.
Also, when you were saying about this sudden change, I suddenly remembered that line. That is, a step and all was God and sky, or something like that, isn't it? There's a line like that.
Yeah.
Oh, one step or something.
It's the
Yeah, there.
sudden transformation,
Yes,
absolute
yes.
sudden transformation. Yes.
Yeah, and Mother speaks also on this. I don't remember this line, but Mother actually clarifies this of the sudden transformation, that it will come not the way we think it will come. No? It's not a gradual transformation. Of course, we are working in that direction, and then there will be like the descent of that supermind in 1956, and suddenly all the psychic beings were flaming more luminous. Like Mother compares 5 watts volts bulb shining 100-volt bulbs. So it was a big shift, and it was in all humanity. Everybody received the light. Few felt it, of course, because we are all engaged on the surface. But we are not the same beings anymore. And it is kind of visible. Those who lived longer life, yeah, you could see the shift in humanity. In
Mm.
spite of all the darkness is rising, yes, and falsehood is dominating politics and commerce and everything else, yes. Well, that had to be so, and Mother even described this, that the politicians will change, they will change last in this. So everything will change, but politician will still be there in the falsehood, holding on to the darkness. So to expect from them some kind of honesty or openness is very difficult, or impossible even. The moment they're in that framework, even if they are good people, I noticed this in Auroville. Good people come to the entry group and they become nasty people. And I was thinking, how is that possible even? That good people turn into the people of this kind. And this is some kind of formation or power formation, yes, which we we are not aware of totally and cannot resist. So it creeps in. There are so many imperfections in the system which allow these forces to hold us back.
Must be due to the insincerity.
And insincerity is proposed as sincerity, yes. There are so many tricks that the mind
Yes.
can play, and the ego, spiritualized ego, yeah, especially spiritualized ego. And we even discussed this the other day. We read the Descent into the Night and the next canto of the Mother of
Falsehood.
Falsehood and the
Yes.
Sons, Mother and the Sons
Of
of Evil.
evil. Yes.
This there Sri Aurobindo describes the amazing thing, and he actually warns us also about spiritual societies, that the high ideal creates a very low feedback also from the darkness. The higher you claim, the more comes, yeah? And the more you allow yourself to do. So this kind of insincerity is built on that there is mismatch between ourselves and our application of our action or presentation of power, as Mother says. The total harmony between our inner self and the outer action would be the measurement of sincerity. But since we claim such a high ideal like supramentalization, yeah, then the whole darkness rises, and we allow ourselves to go there. We must, because we claim the high ideal. So it is permitted, it is opening for us, so we fall into it. So this is, we look at Russia today, for example, they claim the human unity, and what they do, they kill people. So what Hitler was claiming, he was claiming the new world, you know, transformed world, Aryan society, everybody is perfect. He wanted to create a perfect society, perfect humanity. But what did he do? He created concentration camps. So this is these two, the higher you claim and you are not matching that height, yeah, the lower enters and you will have to respond to it. You will have to embody it. So it's better to be true to what you are, yeah, to understand where you are, and more humble in a way with the ideals. And we are also taking Rigveda. Rigveda is always talking about the fight with darker forces. So
Yeah.
later, you don't have that problem.
And
There's something else, the ego. You deal with the ego. You don't deal with darker forces. Or they are.
Vladimir, can you just explain that last sentence once again? Later on, you don't have to deal with the darker forces, you deal with the ego. What does that mean?
Is there a difference?
Well, yeah, the difference in awareness, right? You just don't see that you put onto yourself, onto your responsibility, because we enter into the mental structure, which is narrowing us down to the manas, to the sense mind, and we believe that our sense mind decides, yes, everything, that it is sense mind which is selecting what to see, what to hear, what to speak, and so on. So we build up that egoistic sense very strongly, and then we understand that it is an obstacle. It is the language which Sherbind also speaks, because he speaks to us in our own language. But in the pre-Sankhyaik paradigm, there was a different view. Oh, like Vedic, for example. They don't speak about Ahankara nowhere. Did you see anywhere Ahankara something? Problem with that? No. So they look at the world a bit differently. So they see that the forces we are fighting, we are the forces of light. We have there in us the spark, the divine spark, which has to be kindled, which has to be brought forward. Meet the obstacles. The obstacles are coming. They will always come. So there is no kind of wishy-washy with the ego, good ego, bad ego, you know. There is no more this kind of reconciliation with your own kind of comforts. Yeah, we know what we are doing.
Or own inadequacies. I think
Yeah,
with the ego, we kind of talk about our
Yeah.
own inadequacies a lot.
Yeah.
So
right. We don't criticize ourselves in that sense. We don't hate ourselves. That all happened because mental structure kind of shifted our perception
Yes.
towards a more individual kind of finding and realization and capacity and so on. Here, it is a bit different, and it helps us actually. It helps us to see more impersonally what we are here for, what others are doing. We don't judge others anymore. We see that they are under attack, yeah, under siege of these forces, and they cannot but suffer from them. It's another paradigm which helps us to understand vaster kind of
So the
task.
ego is a later development,
Yes,
post-Vedic,
absolutely.
post-Vedic development.
Sankhyayak, that's Sankhya. From Sankhya we have Ahankara, and which is Rajasic mainly.
Yes.
And Ahankara holds, of course, the whole everything else, because and Manas is the synthesizer of Indriyas. Now, in the pre-Vedic, in the pre-Sankhyaik, Manas is one of the faculties of Purusha. He is not dominating others. He is not suppressing them. He is not choosing. He is one off. So he is equal to speech. Manas and Vak, Chakshuch and Shrotram. These are the equal qualities or faculties of Purusha, of universal Purusha. So, and there is no ahankara in between. So to say, if we, that's why Kenna would say, for example, it is not by
Yes.
the sight that you see Brahman, but by Brahman you see. It is
Mm.
not by the word that you speak Brahman, but by Brahman that you speak. So by Purusha, by spirit, we see, hear, think, it is by him. So no ahamkara in between, you see? There's no self-responsibility that I am choosing what to deal with.
Yes.
My mind will select what to see. Not yet. Yeah. So they were oriented to this more impersonal vision of our task here, our evolutionary work here.
It was more simpler because as soon as the ego came, then all the gunas came.
Yeah, gunas were there, they formed, yes, this is Sankhya. Sankhya is interesting in one regard that it is actually the true paradigm for mental structure of consciousness. We think like this today, yes? We think that it is our mind which is selecting what the senses provide. We don't believe that senses are connected to the spirit, to the Purusha. We don't have that connection direct. We kind of cut it off. We put in between manas, sense mind, and then ahankara on the top. And here we are. We are holding these two. And of course, beyond there is buddhi, which some kind of pure reason, conceptual thinking, which is less personal, yeah, much less. It's more impersonal. And that's it. That's our understanding of ourselves today.
So we have to overcome the separation that we have created.
Right. Ahankara has to go.
Ahankara. Yes, that separation has to go.
Right. Once it is going, we will see that the Indriyas are actually connected to Purusha.
Yes.
They are not Prakriti's only creation. Yeah?
Yes.
We are so full of gaps.
Mm.
And we personalized everything. We made it. It's a need. It's a Kali Yuga. It's narrowing down the streams, yeah, of consciousness. We need to work out the narrow streams of consciousness. All right. Yeah. Robin, you wanted to say something. I heard your voice.
Mm. Oh, back to politics.
Okay.
Actually, what I've noticed is that when people get together in groups, a small group, even a spiritual group, people seem to shift. The dynamics of a group cause people to behave in a certain way. For communication purposes, for administrative purposes, you make rules that people have to follow and so on. And that seems to bring out the worst in people. And you get, as you were saying, the lowest common denominator becomes the bedrock that then everybody is supposed to behave by. And a small group is just a microcosm of the government or whatever, and then the individual, and I think this is why it is so critically important that we maintain freedom in the world and in countries, is because then you have the option to do as you feel God is moving you to do and to be. We have to have that freedom. If we don't have that freedom, then I think we've lost the most valuable thing that we can possibly lose in the world. And that's what governments love to do, is to take away that freedom.
Absolutely. So nice.
All of them do this subtly or overtly.
Yeah.
And even the people who think that they're doing good, who think that they're compassionate people, they're the worst.
Yeah.
They have been the ones who have caused the most damage and the most destruction in their own countries to their own people.
Yeah. I notice also this, that people who claim that they work for people, this is the worst kind.
Yeah,
You know, Stalin was calling himself the slave of people. This was the worst tyrant ever.
yeah,
So the higher the claim to work for more, I work not for myself but for others, I help others, this claim itself is a very
yeah.
dangerous claim.
Lao Tzu said a very beautiful statement. He said that left alone, people take care of themselves. And that's the best thing that we can do for other people, is to leave them alone, because then they can take care of their own life as they see fit, as is appropriate for them in their location, their country, their culture, whatever. But when one person comes along who loves humanity and wants to, do the best for everybody,
Right.
they're the worst tyrants of all.
Right. Right.
All the big
Absolutely.
NGOs, they
And
have
we learn nothing from history because this has been going on and on, this compassionate helping and things turning out into not what was being talked about. It has been going on for a long time.
We
We
don't
should
learn.
be learning from it. We should have learned
Yeah,
from it.
yeah,
Slowly we learn. But what you said, Robin, is learning. Yeah, it's a big learning.
yeah.
Shubindu helps us immensely in this regard. He actually values individual freedom most. Yeah, he says without individual freedom, nothing is possible, nothing is achievable. If that is surrendered or subdued by the communal ego, yeah, then here you are. You can't evolve. You can't develop. You stagnate slowly. That's how Soviet Union lost. Yeah, and so, Western world won because of that liberty, that freedom of individual. That is the most important power. Then, of course, there has to be arrangement in the society, yes, but on the ground of the freedom of individuals. Society has to help individual to be free and to develop as a, that's the only role of the society, no
Yeah.
other role.
And then we have to have dharma within us, rather than having it put into rules that are then enforced in society. And what I see happening right now actually is the worst form of, it used to be in a very gross form that people could organize a country and force people to behave a certain way. Now, with the technology that exists,
Yeah.
and this virus business is a good example of countries enforcing people to have to take an experimental vaccine. If this got out of hand, this could be far worse than anything that Stalin or Lenin or Mao ever came up with, because then you can be controlled at a chemical level in your body. And the technology for that exists today. And if anything really worries me, that does.
Yeah. There was someone in Ukraine was telling interesting thing that nowadays the manipulation is so subtle with the opinion of people, for example, through TV, through media, yes? Some people are often on the screen, and because they are often on the screen, they form the opinion. So that's it. That's enough to do. You don't need to impose anything. You just show some people more often than others on the screen. That's it. Here you will be formed subconsciously. All your thoughts will be influenced.
And
So,
and
yeah,
sorry, go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead, go
no,
ahead, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
no, no. This
So
is good.
so people have gone to this extent that they are studying the mathematics of tornadoes and cyclones in order to understand how something becomes viral. And there's a lot of research going on how does a news item which is fake or true or whatever, how do you make it viral using social media? And the mathematics that goes into it is the mathematics of the cyclone. I mean, can you just imagine where we are really working?
Right.
So
And no wonder that the whole Russia is for war and they want war and so on. They were brainwashed for so long, and the hate and fear was imposed on them for so long from that TV screen, shining on them. So the brain is damaged, and so people are not themselves. The forces, this is not only TV. TV is a means, but the forces behind the TV, yes, they want to take charge of human life, and they take, and that's how it happens. So we have to come back to our Rig Veda to see those forces instead of blaming people, because they are victims, truly speaking, all of them, of these forces. And once we
I
see
just
it,
wanted to ask, I just wanted to ask Robin, have you tried out Open Chat GPT yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it's called Open Chat GPT. It's an experimental thing by Microsoft, and it literally talks to you. You are talking to that person. It's a machine, but it's talking to you. It is absolutely like a human being. It's something. It's extraordinary.
and it knows everything what you are looking for from your website, from your letters, from your discussions. So,
Absolutely.
and it can really frame very interesting conversation with you. So you will be surprised how wise it is.
What
Yeah.
is this again?
Open Chat GPT.
Okay, we'll try.
PT.
GPT.
Open Chat GPT.
I'll
Isn't
try
that
that.
dangerous? Isn't that dangerous because
Just,
you're
just,
in,
just try it out and form your own opinion about
but
what it is.
isn't all your information compromised then? They can use your information against you.
You're talking to another human being, let's say, and
Oh,
you
is
have
that so? Not to a
it's like
machine?
that, not to
Okay,
a machine.
okay.
Is it communal? I mean, is it just one person that you're talking to, or is it a group? Is it?
It's one-to-one chat right now, but they can take it anywhere, and
So it can become public?
it is available as an experimental thing for anybody to try out.
It's AI, it's called Open Chat AI.
Open Chat AI, yes, yes.
Yeah, let's try and see what happens. Interesting. Was that what they collect the information? They already collected all the information. I'm not even afraid of that. What can they collect from you? Yes, some kind of that you like
Nothing.
chocolate, or that this or that, or that you like to have some guitar or some instrument. Or so what? Okay, so how am I different from others? They want to sell to me more products, and that's it. There's not much to really threaten me. And in some way, even I am grateful that they are supplying with information for the musical instruments and for different types of chocolate, because I wanted that. So they know it. So they give it to me.
No, but Vladimir, it's like this. It's not about you. It's about very young people getting positively threatened by using of this information. So
Right.
there are a lot of victims of all these things nowadays amongst the young people, because they cannot make out which one is true, what is false.
Mm.
Uh,
And the
many of them.
danger
Document.
is the narrowing down the information scope, because you are
Absolutely.
of that kind, so they feed you only that kind information.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you don't see
Yes.
vaster, you don't see other opinions because they are not fitting into your profile.
There was a documentary, no, the social dilemma,
Mm.
which brought out all this.
Yeah. Yes,
And
if
what's
you have a reference, you can lead us.
it's called the social dilemma. I mean, it's pretty scary. The kind of information that they gather, we think that it's not of much, but the way they influence our mind into doing anything, it's very subtle, because even the tick, a sound comes up from the mobile, we are tempted to open and check it out. And they have a way of doing, like, taking us to where they want to go.
It's on Netflix. I see it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Great. Netflix itself is a social dilemma. Wonderful. Great. So we will meet another time, next time, and continue this. Most probably we will finish the hymn. Okay, thank you for today, and
Thank
see you
you.
then next
Thank
time.
you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vladimir.